I go from this to this. This is a great video for any person or any student who wants to improve their writing or want to score highly on their essays. Maybe here at Oxford, another university, any other university. So if you are that person or if you are that student, this video is suitable for you. If you are not that person, I recommend you to watch my other videos. For example, how did I join Oxford from a village school? And other videos that can make you happier. Thank you. Welcome back to our channel, and that is For those who don't know me, my name is Annette. Just call me Annette. I am Annette. I am a student here at Oxford University. I'm doing my postgraduate education here in the Department of Oncology. I am studying about cancer in simple terms, and I am doing a master's degree in radiation biology. Biology is in my blood. I love biology, so I'm studying radiation biology. That's my master's degree. So I finished my primary education and my secondary education in Uganda, just here and here, and I finished my undergrad in Japan, Tokyo University, and now I'm here at Oxford University. When I was in Uganda, I failed English. I failed English so many times. I failed English and I got tired. I was like, I'm just tired of failing this thing. At high school, I did biology, chemistry, and mathematics, and then you have to do English. You have to do English. You have to take English. It's compulsory. And my caring friends and teachers were worried about me. They were like, Anne, look, you can get A's in mathematics. You can score highly in chemistry. You can pass biology. But look, you're going to fail English. And I was like, oh, they really care about me. What can I do about it? I was like, oh my God, I think I should do something about this language. What can I do? How can I improve? How can I pass this? Seriously, when I was at high school, I didn't focus so much on English. And I think we didn't have, proper lessons about English. This is my opinion about that. My classmates might say something different, but for me, I don't think we had proper classes or lessons about English. So I kind of gave up on it and focused on other subjects, because when I was growing up, I thought that other subjects are more important than the language. I could pass mathematics. I got A's, I could get a B in biology. I could get an A or a B in chemistry, But I just ask myself sometimes, how did I pass those? Because the questions were in English. So I don't understand. I kept on failing English. Anyways, to make the story short, I tried to, practice English speaking and everything. And I said, okay, I think I'm gonna pass this thing. We did the exams, and guess what? I finally failed English in the Uganda national exams. That means that I failed English locally at the village level and nationally at the inter-district level. Is that something I'm proud of? Of course not. Everyone wants to pass a subject, right? I don't know why, but it didn't hurt me. I was like, it's fine. I passed mathematics with an A. I passed biology. I passed chemistry. That's enough. Those subjects are more important than English. I think I was just silly. I don't know, but I didn't really focus so much on the English. I focused so much, on the question, what does the teacher want and how can I answer that? I could understand other subjects and I could answer the questions they asked, but I could fail English as a subject. Anyways, I can't explain that thing or that phenomenon, but yeah, that's how it was. So right now, I'm here at Oxford University. I am writing my essays to enter Oxford University. I didn't submit IELTS. I didn't do IELTS. I didn't do TOEFL. I didn't do any exam. I just told them that I studied in English, even in Uganda. I studied in English and they accepted me without any IELTS score. And actually, they did a great decision, because if they asked me to go in English classes, or maybe I would have failed such exams, right? And that would be so sad, because I really wanted to experience various environments, throughout my academic journey. That would be so sad, seriously. So I'm happy they made that decision for me not to submit the English scores. So let's go to the point. Here at Oxford University, we write essays, we get so many assignments. And on my assignments, I actually score well. I score well. I have at least excellent. And on some essays, I have extraordinary. I'll be showing you some of my feedback later on. So how did I really transform from failing English or writing English to becoming really good at writing essays that make sense to the examiners? Is that magic? Well, you have the right to think like that, but it's not magic. It's not magic. It's hard work. To kick off the boat, the first thing I recommend you to do, if you get any question, is to plan for your essay. I'm going to be using various examples in these videos, because I'm going to be talking about various videos in terms of improving your writing, on how you can score highly using my essays as examples, and using my essays and the feedback as examples. Then from that, you might learn something, or you might not, depending on your level in terms of writing. So just enjoy it. So today, the question we are going to be talking about is this. I want to warn you, this video, I'm going to be giving you general advice on how you can better your writing, but I'm going to be using examples from a science perspective. I'm going to be using questions from the science field. So kindly bear with me, but the tips I'm going to be using can be applied anywhere, because I'm going to be using various examples that are relatable or related to what we do in the real world. So let's start off. So if you look at this question, we have part A and we have part B. So if you get any question to write an essay about, I recommend you to do this thing. First, understand the question. I don't know how I can emphasize this, but understand the question. You are capable of writing a very good essay. You are capable of writing something really great, But if you are off track, oh dear, you're gonna lose a lot of marks. So after you understand the question, make a plan. Basing on your understanding, you'll make a plan. You cannot make a plan of any essay if you don't know the question. You must first understand the question. How? By looking for the specific terms that are in the question. For example, in this question they asked, describe the cellular responses to radiation-induced DNA double-strand break damage. Part B is evaluate specific DNA damage repair factors that are most likely to increase the efficacy of radiotherapy in clinic. So after understanding this question, you're going to make a plan. I noticed that every teacher says that make a plan for your essay. But wait, how can I make a plan? Give me an example of how I can make a plan, for me to learn. Because by you only telling me, make a plan. It's like, what do you mean? Yeah, I can make a plan, but what do you mean, Can you just teach me how to make a plan for about 3 times to really understand, like, oh, when I'm making a plan, I should think from this direction. I should think from this angle, something like that. So I'm going to show you, how I would make a plan for this essay, and if there's anything I've left out, feel free to add it in. You never know, right? Let's go. The first thing to understand is that you're going to have the introduction, the body, and the conclusion, right? So what should I include in my introduction? Well, from our question, they are asking about the responses, several responses to the damages, DNA damages that have been induced by radiation, right? In my introduction, I would first introduce, various ways in which our DNA gets damaged. In their question, they asked about the DNA damage by ionizing radiation. But I want to inform them that I'm actually aware that there are other ways, there are various processes that can also result in DNA damage. This question is more like, it's related to, it's more like when someone asks you, how does bad weather causes aeroplanes to crash? You understand that? So in your introduction, I expect you to introduce all other factors that can induce, plane crashing. For example, mechanical damage, pilot error. And then after, you focus on how bad weather causes or results in crashing, of planes, or how the bad weather relates to the crashing, of planes. After introducing all these ways, I'm going to focus on what is asked. After that, I'm going to introduce the damages. What are some of the damages that are induced in the DNA by these 2 pathways, right? And I talk about them. Then I have to think, okay, if these 2 pathways cause these damages, is there any difference in the way they cause the damage? If there's any difference, I note it down. If there's no difference, I don't talk about it, right? I am aware that there are various types of damages that can be induced by ionizing radiation, right? So how can I reach to the type of the damage, they asked, basing, on the types of the damages that I've introduced. What I want you to think about when you're planning for introduction is that introduce a big picture of something and then focus on what they've asked. That's how I plan for my introduction. After that, you go to the major thing. How does the cell respond to these damages? I noticed that part A is always the most important part of any question. That's what I've noticed. So after introducing all those, introducing all those key terms and some of the information that's going to be under that, I expect you to briefly bring in part B by saying that in this essay, I'm going to be talking about this and this and this, and how this can be used to do this. And those words will be for part B. If I consider this essay, I'm going to say in this essay, I'm going to be talking about how the cell responds to these damages and how the processes in which, and how the response processes can be targeted to improve cancer treatment with radiotherapy. Done. That's how you can wrap up your introduction. After doing that, the next thing you have to do is the body. What should you talk about in the body? This is your chance to explain everything in details. You're basically explaining things you mentioned in the introduction. That's what I do. If you have, any other way you do your essays, you can follow that, but that's how I do, and that's how I score highly on my essays. The question is, if there are double-strand breaks in our DNA, right? If our DNA is broken, how does the cell respond to that? That's the question in brief. That's part A in brief. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on today. What I expect you to focus on here is a process. So in the body, I'm going to talk about how the cells detect the DNA damage. And under this, I'm going to be focusing on what detects and how. Those are the two things that I'm going to be having here. The next thing, okay, it's been detected, right? How does it get repaired? And here, I'm going to be focusing on various ways in which these strands or in which these breaks can be repaired. After talking about all these repair pathways, I will go to the end. So how do things go back to normal? Because according to this question, they're asking a process. A process must have the beginning and it must have the end. And when everything is done, how do things go back to normal? It's more like a bridge, If this is a bridge, right? It's broken, right? The bridge is broken, right? But there are so many trucks that use this road, right? Okay, the constructors are here. All our enzymes are trying so hard. In this case, they are constructors. Our enzymes are trying so hard. Constructors, engineers are, on the side working so hard. Okay, they repaired the bridge. Now trucks can go, right? After repairing the bridge, do they just stop? Do they just keep quiet? Of course, no. Because when they are going to repair this bridge, they must use road signs, right? They must use road signs guiding, pedestrians, where to pass and everything, right? Stop signs and everything. So it's the same thing, not something, but this is relatable to what is happening inside our cells, because most processes are put on hold to first repair the damage, and then when the damage is repaired, other processes can be allowed to proceed. So the bridge has been repaired, you remove the road signs, and tell them, hello drivers, the bridge is now fixed. It has been repaired, please use the road. And things go back to normal, right? As I am talking about the body, as I'm talking about all these processes, damage detection, damage repair, and then the end, I have to think about each and everything in this question polydirectionally. This question is from the field of cancer treatment. And when we are treating cancer, we have to think about both normal cells and the cancer cells. Because we want to kill the cancer cells, but we want the normal cells to stay. That's why I have to discuss both sides. In this question, they didn't specialize if they're asking about normal cells or cancer cells. And they didn't specialize if they want me to answer the responses in nuclear DNA or in mitochondrial DNA. So as I'm discussing these responses, all these processes, I have to balance it. I have to discuss both in the normal cells and in the cancer cells, because I'm aware things in cancer cells are uncontrolled. So I expect the processes to be a little bit different, from those in normal cells. And I am aware that we have two types of DNA. We have the nuclear DNA and the mitochondrial DNA. But in their question, they didn't specify whether they are asking about mitochondrial DNA or nuclear DNA. So I have to discuss, are these processes occurring in both nuclear DNA and mitochondrial DNA? But before I include in the mitochondrial DNA, because we are aware that the nuclear DNA is more important than mitochondrial DNA, but mitochondrial DNA is also important, because without mitochondria, cells can hardly survive. Well, cancer cells do their magic, but normal cells can hardly survive. So I have to be able to balance, the discussion, discussing the processes in the nuclear DNA and the processes in mitochondrial DNA, and then discussing the processes in the normal cells and cancer cells. So when I'm talking about these things, I shouldn't be biased, I shouldn't only talk about one side, of the thing. I shouldn't be unidirectional. I should think about the question from various angles. Oh, they're asking about DNA, but I know that we have both mitochondrial DNA and nuclear DNA. Okay. So how can I combine these two? And is it really important to talk about this type of DNA? Of course. You understand that? So you just have to keep on asking yourself various questions that are peripheral to the major question. After that, I got the conclusion. What should I include in the conclusion? Well, I don't expect you to introduce anything new in the conclusion. Seriously. You're just summarizing, your introduction and your body. You are introducing something and then you are explaining what happens briefly, and then saying what should be done. But you must make sure that you mention about what should be done in your body. Yeah. So what would be my major advice or my general advice for you to write a killer essay anywhere, either at Oxford or any university? Number one, read broadly about the topic. First understand the question and then start reading. Read as many papers as you can. When you read so many papers, you start to think about things, from various angles. Because you're going to find out that various people have reported contradicting ideas. And as you're reading as many papers, make sure that you rely more on research papers. But I prefer, combining both research papers and reviews. But of course, I make sure that my research papers are more in terms of number than the reviews I'm going to cite in my essay. The reason why I'm urging you to read as many papers as you can is that you're going to find that person A is saying that, oh, actually, this is done like this. Person B is going to be like, no, actually, this is done in this way. You're going to be like, excuse me, what are you talking about? That's when you're going to bring in your brain. That's when you need your brain to critically think what makes sense really. Does this person make sense? Does this person make sense? You understand that? And by you being able to critically analyze things, you're going to come up with great questions or with great ideas or with great points on future studies to be conducted on that topic. That's how I come up with my questions. When someone mentions something that's contradicting to what has been mentioned, I focus on it and I try to think from my perspective or basing on the knowledge I've learned from class. Okay, this person is saying this, but when I really think about it, does it make sense? Let me try to relate it to the normal life. Okay, this occurs like this. Okay, if this is happening and this is happening, okay, what is more realistic? Okay. If I don't have any experience or if I don't have any knowledge, and I don't know who to believe, I try to look for more papers. I try to look for, more papers that have been recently published on the same topic. And if I don't find that, I just have to say, this person is saying this and this person is saying this. Meaning that there is more work to be done in the future to fully understand how this works. Yeah, basically that. If you read a few papers on a certain topic, you're going to be very limited on how you're going to come up with originality. You won't be original because you will be reporting only things that have been reported. So you won't critically think about the topic because you'll be limited, you'll be biased. You will be only reporting from one side. This is like this, this is like this, this is like this. So you really have to read so many papers for you to be able to think about things critically. And that's how you're going to become original in terms of thinking. The next tip I want to give you is that whenever you are reading any paper or whenever you are reading papers for your essays, or when you're writing your essay, always ask yourself, ask yourself as many questions as you can at every step you reach when you're writing your essay. The questions that I always ask myself, okay, what does this? Okay, this one, okay, so how does it do it? Okay, this is happening, right? Where does it happen? Does it occur here or here? So, okay, if it's occurring here, is there any difference in how it occurs? In this region or in this region? So you just have to keep on asking various questions, Keep on asking yourself various questions, and once you find something interesting, note it down. When you're reading any paper and you find something you think you might include in your paper, note it down. And when you note it down, always remember where you got it from. Put down the name of the person and the year. Oh my goodness, this will be very important for you, because you're going to be having burning points, but you won't remember where you got them from. So as you're reading these papers, try to make sure that you note your burning points with the authors, and the year, and the title. If you think that, you might look for that paper and you might not get it. Yeah, another thing I wanted to tell you regarding reading so many papers is that read so many papers, collect them, but they must be relating to the topic. There's a difference between you having so many papers, that are important but not relating to the topic, and having so many papers that are important and at the same time relating to the topic. So the next tip I want to tell you is that always try to work on the structure of your essay. Oh my God. You know what? All of us are capable of writing something really good. We are all capable of getting great ideas. And we might be good at being original in terms of asking, important questions in science. But how can you connect your ideas to be flowing in a way that will never confuse your examiner? Because you must have segment A, segment B, segment C. All of them have excellent questions, excellent ideas. But there is no connection. There is no proper connection in these segments. Alright? So when you're writing your essay, try to make sure that your paragraphs are connecting. And this comes in when you made a good plan, Because when you make a plan, you know what will come first, what will come next, and then you will know how you can, find the linkers. How can I call them in simple English? Linkers. You will know how to link those paragraphs to make them flowing and make them, orderly, making sense to the examiner. Oh my God. I don't know how I can explain this, but I just have to get, a piece of an essay and I show you how everything flows, because I might not show you my full essay, but I think I'll just try to find ways of how I can, how we can work on our structure. The last thing I want to tell you is reread your essay at least 5 times. At least 5 times when you're done with your first draft. On your first draft, I don't expect you to focus so much on the word limit. I remember we had to write about 3,000 to 4,000 words. In my first draft, I had about 10,000 words. In my first draft, 10,000 words. I had a lot of information. I collected a lot of information. In that first draft, we read it, the entire thing. We read your draft about 5 times. And as you're reading, the most important thing here is to keep the question in your mind. When you find any piece of information that is off topic, delete. Yeah, delete. delete. But you're going to become an expert at doing these things by practice. You won't be able to know what to delete and what to leave in your essay within one day. No, I don't think so. Well, there might be some people who are really smart and they can do that. I'm not that person, and I want to be realistic to my life. I want to be real. I can't lie to you. You cannot become good at knowing what should I remove, what should I include in just one day. You learn all these things by practice. The more you practice, the more you become better at knowing what's important or what's relevant to the topic and what's not. So, those are my tips, guys. I'm going to stop here on part A. In the next part, I'll be introducing to you my part B, and I'll be explaining to you how I wrote it. So if you are interested in understanding how you would answer such question using my essay and my feedback as examples, please wait for that. So thank you so much, guys. Take care of yourselves. I love you so much, and don't forget to support me by subscribing to my channel. I need more 800 people to get 1,000 subscribers. So if you think that you're learning anything from me, and if there is anything you want me to talk about, just include it in the comment section. Don't forget to share my videos. I need more 800 people. Thank you so much, guys. I love you. Bye.